about 3:51 a.m. December 22nd, 2022. I woke up around 3:27. I actually woke up twice, or was woken up twice. Um, each time I went to sleep, I was induced into some virtual world, the simulated dream. I don't remember much from the first one. The second one, I don't remember too many details, but for whatever reason, it felt like they had induced me into some futuristic sushi restaurant setting, and the things that was on my plate I've never seen before. They were like creatures. They were like things that I've like. They were like things that I've never even seen on like Nature Channel, or not even like the deep sea type creatures before. They look like something that wasn't even from this world, like literally not from this world. And when I got up to go use the bathroom just now, I just kept thinking about I just kept thinking about um one, the movie They Live. Then I started thinking about oh yeah, this it got loose over time, but this is actually like it's a type of camera cover. And one thing I also realized is that not only will it cover the camera of the phone, but it covers the infrared camera, or the it covers yeah, I guess infrared camera, or sensor rather. It covers the infrared sensor that's next to the camera. This is the iPhone right here. Uh, iPhone Special Edition Red, whatever. I think it's supposed to be like the iPhone 11 or 12, something like that. I got it in December of 2020. Anyway, just so that everyone is either informed or remembers, the infrared sensors on all of your mobile devices, um, they're all being used to read your body's electrical impulses as data in basically for the nanotechnology that's in us, the nanotechnology that's in our bodies. Remember, nano can be as small as an atom, really. It basically takes that information, the electrical impulses in your body, every electrical activity in your body is basically read as data, and then it's transmitted as it's transmitted as frequencies that your infrared sensors can read. And then the infrared sensors then take that information, and then it process it through, like, I guess brain computer interfaces, or whatever other software, I don't know, EEG or fMRI, whatever. And then it puts it into like a computer language, or like some type of like binary coded language, so then the computer can be able to take that data and information and put it into what we see as words, images, videos, and then but it's sent to the cloud first, and then it's processed, and then from whatever remote location, whatever laptop, tablet, or cell phone, or whatever they're looking at this information from, they can that's basically how they're able to see our thoughts, our memories, um our just about everything, including what we're um, actively seeing and hearing. And as I woke up, and every time I like feel myself slightly waking up, I always hear the V2K handlers, um, or synthetic telepathy handlers. I always hear them, always in the background, and like I told you, it's four different people, and they have strong New York accents and Bronx accents at that. Um, I was born and raised in New York, so I pick up. I could pick up on who's from where. I could tell somebody from Harlem. I could tell somebody that's from like Lower Manhattan. Or I could tell somebody that's from Brooklyn. I could tell somebody that's from the Bronx. I could tell somebody who sound like they from Queens, or the Shaolin Island, Staten Island. So it's like, oh, I could tell if you probably live out in Long Island or something. But anyway, yeah, New York City is like a country of its own when you think about it. It's so vast with so many different cultures and dialects, and yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like they had me in this weird sushi spot, and I remember like looking down at the plate, because it was funny because the guy, I think I remember seeing. I was looking down at the plate, and all I remember was seeing all these weird little creatures or whatever. And then I think I seen something that looked like a. I thought it was a dog, but I don't think it was a dog or whatever. Then all of a sudden, this guy, it was like a black guy, he steps out. And it was like I was sitting on a patio, and there was like a sliding door. And this guy, he kind of steps out to the side of the door, and he's like, "Hey, no pets on the tables." And I looked down, and I'm like, "Isn't?" And I picked it up with my chopsticks. I picked it up, and I'm like, "Isn't this one of yours?" And then he looks, and I look down at the plate, and it looks the same as the thing I'm holding. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah." So, so all of a sudden he goes away, right? He goes away, and then for whatever reason, as I'm looking at the thing, well, I didn't even pick it up with chopstick. I picked it up with my hand, and it starts moving, right? And as it's moving, I held it in my palm, and then it just started vibrating, and then like I dropped it on the table. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And then next thing you know, it was like vibrating, then puffing up, and then creating its own foam and I was like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of here!" I like slapped it on the floor and everything, and I was like, "Where am I? What the hell? Where am I at?" And then all of a sudden, I just like, I don't know if I snapped my fingers, but all of a sudden I just woke up, like my eyes open, and I'm back here in my bed, and I'm like, "What the hell are they doing to my brain?" you know, and this is like the third or fourth straight night I woke up in a pool of my own sweat. I think my body is fighting for its dear life to maintain its normal natural state. Um, I've been playing this healing frequency of 741 hertz as a carrier, and 2 hertz as a beat. 741 is the hertz that's used to help detox or dissolve any radiation within the cells of your body. Um, 2 hertz is used to stimulate the healing of nerves. Um, I probably should have been playing on 9.7, because when I got up to try to walk, um, my MCL, my medial collateral ligament on my left knee, was it still has that pulse on it too. There's a frequency on my MCL that's basically, like my thumb, my it's literally pulsing and vibrating right now. I got my right fingers, I have my right hand on it, and like, um well, I have my right index finger and middle finger, the tips of it over my NCL, and I can feel it like it's like a twitching. Your ligaments shouldn't be twitching. The only things that really should be twitching on your body are your muscles. Your muscles and yeah, ligaments shouldn't twitch. um but yeah, so um I'm trying something new as far as, grounding, right? So let me show you real quick. So like I said, everything that I do to try to, you know, shield, ground, block, reflect, they always adjust certain things, right? So I'm hoping this, I could probably alter this a little bit because this is, it gave me some amount of relief right now. What I did here was, remember the copper tape that I use. So what I did was I took neodymium magnets, let's say 4 in total, right? 2 of them I actually taped together using the Kapton tape. The Kapton tape is the one that NASA uses to basically, I guess, help protect certain materials within the ship from like heat exposure and stuff like that. I took the Kapton tape and I taped the magnets together so that they're repelling each other. So just so you remember, neodymium magnets, especially like the larger they are, the more powerful and stronger they are, you're gonna need something to keep them in place. So what I did was, I had to improvise. So what I did was I took a Q-tip, I took a Q-tip and I snipped off a piece, just enough so that like I could stick it through the holes of the neodymium magnets and to hold it in place, because once you try to put them together as they're repelling, they're either going to slide apart or they're going to push apart. So as I'm holding it, I then wrap the magnets together with the Kapton tape, not too many times, just enough just to just to hold it in place. And then I wrapped it with the now they're attacking my left shoulder. Yeah. Yeah, so I always gotta remind y'all that there is a main beam that comes down, right? But I believe what happens is there's a main beam that comes straight down, right? There's one that connects to the pineal gland, but I think that it's like a primary beam. And because your actual aura, your energy aura, your natural aura of your body, it extends about, I think, like maybe a foot above your head. And then it comes around you like a circle, like a big circle. That's your aura, right? What they're doing is it's like an infection. It's like they're infecting your natural energy aura with synthetic light and synthetic, well, it's like with the infrared light and these infrasound. Um all of these are like electromagnetic radiation. They all have a power behind it. Energy, well, light carries energy, sound carries energy, but energy can also be harmful just as much as it can be healing. And what they're doing is those who are basically being obedient, they are given the gift of light and sound to heal them and to allow them to not really um, suffer through, well, anything. They're the ones who's being, given priority from not getting diseases or cancers or whatever the case. And those of us who, are being targeted, we're the ones who's being, you know, for lack of better words, cursed with the manipulation of our minds, the virtual sexual assaults, the attack on our health, both at an atomic level and at a tissue level. Probably pretty much the same. But, and then but what I was relaying to is that main beam. What I realized, that main beam, it branches off. So like if they want to attack certain parts of your body, a lot of times I realize that um the beams, they branch off and it creates almost like a cord, like a separate type of, like it has individual beams that kind of like circle out and then it connects to certain parts. So if they want to attack like the kidney on your right side, it comes down, then it kind of branches out and then it goes like there, you know. But or rather it's kind of like a dome. There's a dome around your body, just like how there's a digital dome of data and frequencies, like synthetic energy that's encasing the earth. And yo, I kid you not, I think that's why there's so much that's about to happen to the earth. And I've been seeing this thing about how they're like global warming is a hoax. The earth has been just as warm as it always has. And I'm starting to understand certain things, because what if it's not necessarily the actual weather itself, or like it's not actually the position of the sun or anything? It's not even nothing naturally changing about the earth, but it's actually the earth being affected by the nanotechnology that's flowing through the air and all of the increased radiation that's being smothered, or that's basically smothering the earth and all of life that's on this planet. Because remember, nanotechnology is highly conductive, and because it's nano, you can't really see it. You can't see it, but I think at some point you might actually be able to taste it, because nanotechnology is carbon based, but it's also some of it has very metallic properties. So a lot of times, they say there's a condition where, like, if you're like in your mouth, if you taste like something that's like I don't know how many people ever done this, but if you ever seen like the what is it? It's not the D. What is it? I forgot that the name of that battery, but it's the rectangle one that has the positive and negative thing on it. Um they look like little snap on pieces. I forgot what you call them. You ever stuck your tongue in the middle of it and you felt that vibrating, like, acidic? It's not salty, but it's almost like it tastes, what do they say, like it has like a metallic, or I think someone said like irony, taste to it. But anyway, that's what I sometimes get, like when I'm doing my heavy, like even right now, as I open my jaw and I feel the pressure relieving from the side of my head, and it's like a gas, like in between. It's like in between the bone of my jaw and then my skin. It's like in between that, in that space. between my bones and my skin, it's like gas is seeping down just in front of my ear, like just in front of my ear. Interesting how I'm talking, right? And it's like 4:11. I'm not talking that loud. Yet everything that I'm saying, everything around me as far as what sounds like people movement, there's like stomping on the ground. There's like things being dropped on the floor. There's stuff being dragged. Sometimes I hear like cables dragged along the floor. Or sometimes there's like something very heavy, like a device being dragged across the floor. Like you know what something sounds like something like if you know what a amp if you know what a guitar amp looks like, you know a guitar amp is heavy. It's a big ass box. Most of the time it has like rubber feet on it, like little rubber knobs on it, like feet. And if you drag a a amplifier across a tile floor, like a ceramic tile floor, it makes a particular sound. There's a particular sound to it, you know. But anyway, yeah. Mm. And and just as I'm doing that, as I get about right here, there's a change in pressure in my ear and on the side of my face. So that's like a confirmation that there is a layer of this synthetic energy that's covering my entire body. Um, but yeah, so it feels like there's like gas like escaping, and then it comes through, I guess, like a gland or something that's in my mouth. I don't know. Where's my flashlight? I don't know. Maybe I could show you. I don't know where that flashlight is at. Um, Ow. I got all kinds of stuff. I don't know where my flashlight is at. I don't know where it's at. I was going to try to show you exactly where that it feels like it's coming from. Oh, it's right here. All right. Too bright. Yeah. I don't know. I would have to look at the anatomy of the mouth because the more I'm trying to think about, like, I'm trying to visualize what the inside of the mouth looks like to see if I could think of a gland or something that I'm like, is it a salivary gland? I don't know, but it's escaping. Like it's escaping from inside the mouth, but it's like, yeah, somebody's up and they're saying shut up, and I'm like, these walls ain't that. These walls ain't that. They're not that thin. Plus, I'm not even talking that loud. So, um, plus, I mean, quite honestly, if you had a neighbor that was too loud, the normal thing you would do, right, is to just be like, hey, you keep us up at night. Oh, I don't know what you were doing, but can you keep it down? It's like, that's what normal people would do, right? But not one time over these last 2 years or so have I ever had a neighbor actually complain to me about me being too loud or anything like that, right? Not one time, not one time. And I remember when this targeting stuff first started in like October of 2020, um, the V2K handlers, they were like, "Oh, he's a noisy neighbor, blah blah blah." He was like, "You be blasting your music mad loud." And then, but I'm thinking to myself, and whenever I do play music, it's usually around times that are like very, very, they're daylight times. I don't blast, and then if it's at night, it's before 8 p.m. I know better, and I'm more considerate than to be blasting music after like 8 p.m. because I mean, that's just being considerate of your neighbors, and then also like I also know that if it's like the weekend, if it's like Friday or Saturday, yeah, I might play a little bit later. But most of the time, I'm still not blasting music that loud. Then also the neighborly thing to do is if someone is irritating you with noise or whatever, you go and you tell them, right? That's the normal human thing to do is to let someone know that you're bothering them, right? But no one has ever done that. I've even when I was living at 1490 Boone Avenue, I even wanted to check on my neighbor upstairs because I was like, no one lived below me, right? I was living in apartment 2N. No one lived below me because there was a daycare center downstairs. So I was like, there's no way, the daycare center's complaining because nobody's in there at night anyway. So I remember I went upstairs to the apartment above me and I had asked the neighbor. I knocked on her door. She opened the door, and I never knew who lived in there, whatever. And it was this lady I see all the time, and I was like, "Oh, it's you." She's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm all right." And then I was like, question: Do I keep you up at night? Am I annoying?" She's like, "No, I don't be hearing anything." I'm like, "For real?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh." Cause I don't know why I keep getting the impression that I'm like maybe too loud or whatever, but she never tells me anything. So I'm like, okay. She was like, and then she was like, no, if you was a noisy neighbor, I would let you know. And I was like, that's what I'm thinking, right? So, and then my neighbor that lived to the side of me, I never got a complaint from them, and I remember when I used to hear them, and I think he was like a music producer or something like that. So I used to hear him making beats and stuff, or whatever. But I never complained because I was most of the time I was going with the music honestly. So I was like, okay, so he must be a producer or something because he always seemed like he was like making music over there or whatever. So you know, and there was no one that lived directly next to me because that was a staircase. So I kept thinking to myself, what are the handlers talking about that I'm a noisy neighbor? Because no one is telling me that I'm noisy, and no one is actually like no one was actually showing me signs that like I'm a nuisance to them or anything like that. But yet they're like, I think at some point what they do is they basically intimidate you to make you to debate to basically induce the emotion of shame or guilt in you, and those are very low vibrational emotions. So what they're doing is they're trying to condition you to live in low vibrational states of being. And the more you're in these, submissive, subduing, emotions, I guess they reward you with, whatever synthetic energy that they're beaming down into you, or they try to reward you with, I don't know, downloaded information. It's like basically if you ever watched the 2018 SIBS TED Talk with Steve Hoffman. He mentions about how, with the new technology, they can basically, technology will be able to control your environment. They'll be able to basically not just control your health, but they'll be able to control how you see information, how you retrieve or get information, things of that sort. You know, and when you think about how information is becoming more and more digitized, and Steve even mentions that like colleges as we know it today will be basically they'll be completely prehistoric and obsolete, because basically you won't ever have to like go to college anymore. You'll just be able to download information into your brain. And I'm like, that's cheating. And that's also a terrible idea, because they're already monetized. They're already trying to monetize and capitalize enormously on college education as it is. Imagine if someone actually puts a cap on what you'll be able to learn and what you'll be able to actually, recall. Even like no matter how much you try to read something, they will always have this infrared light that's basically messing with the building of new connections and neurons and synapses in your brain, and they'll always block those chemical reactions between the neurons, so that whenever you're trying to remember specific details about something, they'll have this infrared light beam down on your brain, so that it inhibits the neurons from firing, or it inhibits um one neuron from receiving information from another neuron. So it's like that feeling where like you be like, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't. It's like I know it, but I just can't recall it. And I've been thinking about that for a long time. Like I remember when I was in college, and I was studying exercise science, sports medicine, and I was always so into what I was doing. Like I was highly interested in being a sports medicine, or athletic trainer and stuff. And then, I would think later on whether I want to go to a graduate school to, take it further or anything like that. And my one of my professors, Mr. Pridgeon, um, he he used to watch me. Like, he was always very tough on all of us, and he actually was like, he saw my progress. He saw how well I was when it came to the hands-on stuff, the proficiencies, doing the like learning everything like in the clinical setting or on the field setting. And then my teachers, my professors, they saw how engaging I was in the classroom. They could tell I've been doing, my readings and studies and things of that stuff. But every time when it came for me to take a test, it's like I knew what the answer was, but for whatever reason I couldn't recall all of the details, and like I'm taking tons of notes. I'm reading over my notes. I'm like when in a classroom setting, I'm like this. But every time when it came to taking a test, it was almost like it's like I feel like I know what it is, but I just can't remember it. It's like something's blocking it. And this we're talking like between 2007 2009, you know. And just so you know, this technology is not new at all. The idea of using infrared light to um basically change or modify, the electrical activity within the brain, that's not new at all. That's probably several decades in. I mean, hell, the study of neuroscience has been around for a long time anyway, so decades at that. So I'm just thinking to myself, um, I'm recalling how often that the handlers would say he was supposed to he was supposed to be a police officer, and then I think about how many times I hear like the gang stalking society members or whatever, whenever I'm like making my deliveries or if I walk past specific doormen and whatnot, because I take mental notes, so like I just put it on a show. I have no interest in confronting them, because they're the small part. They're not who I'm going after. You destroy the system, and basically everyone who's a part of the system fails. So I'm not going after individual people. I'm going after the system itself. You know, but it's like, because if you go after the system, those who are at the head, those are the ones who really start to shake the most. But because everyone on our level, they're basically the ones who are actually feeding off of the system. You destroy the system, you destroy, everything else that's attached to it. But yeah, and I'm like when I make my deliveries, I hear people talking in their conversations, whatever. He's not supposed to be making deliveries. He doesn't know it's a secret society, da 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 da. So and I'm like, look, I control my life. I don't know who y'all are or who y'all think y'all are. But if y'all operate one way, just always remember there's positive and negative, there's good, there's evil, there's light, there's dark, there's, I guess there's public, then there's secrecy. There's always opposition. So I chose my side, I guess. Well, no, I didn't guess. I am. I chose my side. So, um, but yeah, oh yeah, I could charge my phone up. But anyway, yeah. So now all of a sudden they're up. Because I know I'm not talking that loud. I honestly believe that most of the time they just be up monitoring me, and or they probably have some computer tech guy somewhere nearby who's you know practicing his ability to dream simulate dreams, or practicing his ability to basically attack somebody with radiation, based on the electricity of the surrounding um environment and things of that sort. Let me see. And you know what? It's funny. So I recently bought a surge protector, right? Um, well, yeah, I recently bought a surge protector, right? And this one here, I'm using that one now, and I have my ionic air purifier. Ever since I had it plugged in there, I haven't been using the outlet that's across the room lately, because I wanted to test something out. ever since I kept it plugged in that surge protector over here, the blue light has been staying on. So now that definitely that gives me a whole nother idea too, is TIs need to start buying like really good surge protectors in their home. Um Preferably anything over I think it's 1200 jovials, 1600 if you can, 24 probably even better. Start buying like really good surge protectors in your home, and stop using like those cheap multi-outlet plugs and extension cords. Make sure it's all plugged into a surge protector, because that's literally what they do. Is, the moment you plug a device into the outlets of the wall, um that energy is then, it's increased. The energy is increased, the radiation is increased, so that, like, as they push the energy into the device, the electromagnetic radiation around the device is then, it's bloomed out even more. So the more it plumes out, it's creating more of a charge in the air, and then those charged particles that's in the air, they then can be funneled into an energy vacuum and then directed to your body. Or at least that's how I think it's explained. But um yeah. Anyway, whatchamacallit, yeah. Like I said, one of the best things you could do is look up that CIA document called Star Wars Now, Scalar Interferometry, and the I forgot, it's like the Arhav Brahm, I forgot, it's some type of name for a specific type of energy effect or whatever. But yeah, oh right, I forgot. So this, I got the magnets and copper on two ends, right? Then I have a third copper wire alligator clamp clipped to that one, and then that one, the other end of that is clipped to this metal clip. I'm just trying different things. And then what I do is, because what they had going on for so long, right? What I do is I make sure, because they've been like really messing with my like the side of my the size of my brain and everything. So I place it right over where my memory processing area would be, right? And then I'm using, well, for now I'm using this like flag, or bandana, whatever you want to use, and I tie it tightly against the skull, because, like I said, there's a light energy beam that is connected to uh, your memory processing area, and I make sure it's tightly up against that area. I make sure the other clip is clipped to the copper wire that is connected to I feel like I gotta find somewhere else to really attach that to. But yeah, so I can't see it. But yeah, so it kind of looks like this, because you don't want this to touch the rest of your head, because this is where all of the energy is traveling to, this metal piece right here. So it's it's basically coming through here, and then it's coming through here, and then it meets here, and then it travels through this wire and then connects, and then like comes out here. Every time I touch that metal piece, I feel the energy change in my head. So that's just one way that I'm trying to ground the energy that's coming in contact with my brain. Um, the body stuff, I realized, by playing the 741 hertz, um, and the beat, I changed the beat to anything where it could be 2 hertz is for nerves, stimulate healing of nerves, 9.7 is for ligaments, 13.5 is for muscles, um, 15 hertz actually, um, all of a sudden now it's getting harder for me to breathe. Um, they're probably, yeah, they have energy on my chest, so they're messing with my oxygen, on my lungs' ability to take in oxygen. But that's fine. Um, um, yeah, 15 hertz is used to unclear energy blockages, improves blood circulation, a number of different things. That's why I tell people, you gotta get yourself a frequency generator app and go online and look up, list of healing frequencies. And the least you could do is actually start using sound for healing. That's the least you can do. The light, they're always going to have the light beaming on you. The light is always going to be beaming on you. But that's why we're trying, like many of us are trying our hardest to find as many, ways that we can, you know, block, deflect, or absorb the energy from the light. So that if we can block, deflect, or absorb the light, then we could use the sound healing frequencies more effectively. You know, but as long as they have the light on us, that it still counteracts everything that we can do with the sound. That's why I'm trying to use this as a ground, as a like a kind of like a grounding device for the light, because the light, it's basically projecting energy into our brains. And the brain is probably the most important part that you want to protect, because without the brain, the body will fall. So that's what they're really going after. They're going after your brain the most, you know. And yeah, so it's like uh yeah, if you go brain dead, then the heart will still keep pumping, and that's kind of messed up. But you know what? There are some miraculous things where, like, there are some people who have actually came back from being brain dead, or at least they, by some miraculous energy that might have been flowing through the universe for them. There are some stories where people have came back from being so called brain dead. But I could only imagine the type of malicious revenge that so many people would do against me if I ended up in the hospital, and you know I no longer could move, or I was probably brain dead, and something like that. The type of messed up things they'll do to my body, and I would probably feel every bit of it. Yeah, because this stuff happens. It happens. I mean, hell, you don't even necessarily have to be a target for it to happen. Like this type of stuff. Not even talking about in movies, because well, when you think about it, anytime somebody writes stuff in a movie, it was probably based on something real that happened. And the handlers, they're always talking about, Chris, this is not a movie, and they're talking to their, oh, he doesn't realize this isn't a movie, and I'm like, well, here's the thing. Most films are written based off of true life events, things that actually happen in real life. It might be overly, it might be given the Hollywood effect to make it more entertaining, but for the most part, the basis of everything that's written in a film actually happens in real life, unless it's like some super crazy sci-fi film. But other than that, most films are based on real life. You know, hell, even Pinocchio is based on a concept that's in real life. Liars always end up having to feel the consequences for their lies. So I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, all right, another 50-minute video. All right, so I'm gonna try to go back to sleep. It's almost. I almost looked at the time and see my favorite three numbers, 444. But yeah. My body is fighting as hard as it can. I mean, I've been waking up in a pool of sweat for like the last 72, 3, 4, 5 days. Even my girl, when she does come spend the night, she's like, yeah, your side of the bed is just wet. And I'm like, I know I didn't pee myself. And she was like, no, it doesn't smell like that. It smells like you just been sweating in your sleep. And usually anytime you're sweating in your sleep like that, that means your body is fighting. Your body is fighting so much that's happening to it. And this radiation, it basically deteriorates your immune system. Your white blood cells are being attacked, red blood cells being attacked, like everything, your nervous system is being attacked. So my body is hanging on for dear life, it feels like. And but you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and just allow God to keep using me, because I already know the enemy isn't going to stop. If I were to stop, doing what I'm doing, if I were to stop, trying to expose them and everything, they wouldn't stop anyway. They wouldn't stop. It would just make it easier for them to just keep doing what they're doing, because now I won't be talking about it. And that's how they get most people, is they get you to not say anything. But the moment you stop saying anything, you lose all power. You lose all power and you give them all your power. You can't condone or consent to someone basically taking away your human rights. If you do that, you're not doing yourself a favor. You're actually helping the ones who's causing you more harm, to inflict more harm against you. Uh, anyway, all right. Hopefully, all my videos, some people may be taking screen records, or they're taking, at least jotting down some of the things I'm mentioning, and then I don't know, maybe they'll go over some of these things, and they'll I'll piggyback off of what I started and try to see if they can advance it a little bit more or whatever, but I don't know. All right, I'm going to try to lay back down and go back to sleep when the sun comes up or something. Take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.